Oliver Anthony has been back in the news, and he had an extremely insightful conversation with Joe Rogan about the state of the world today, and I'd like to share that with you.
That's the thing I always take away from it, is just like, damn, dude, if we could just get organized even for like 2 or 3 years, we could just fix everything. Like, the people really do have the power, at least right now, for a short window of time, but we really do. I mean,
but people have to understand that we are all in this together, and that there's organizations that want to drive us apart. And the way to work out our differences is having conversations and negotiations and figuring out how to work it out. It's not lighting cop cars on fire. Like, this is, you know.
Yeah. But the spirit of those, like, not to defend any of that crap, but that rebellious nature in us is important too, though. It just has to be directed correctly.
Right. You shouldn't be burning Waymos while holding a Mexican flag, trying not to get sent back to Mexico. I mean, you're confusing the fuck out of me, dog. Like, who is your oppressor? Is it the electric car? Is it the country which, you know, you want to stay, but you're holding a flag of another country? Like, why are you wearing a mask? Are you proud of this? Do you not want to get arrested? What are we doing? Are you scared of COVID? Like, I want to know.
Well, and this is the first part of their conversation. I just want to chime in on this to say it is really amazing to me that there are people who literally live in this country illegally and are waving the flag of the country that they don't want to go back to because they want to keep living in the U.S., even though they're saying the U.S. is a hellscape. I just can't fathom it. Honestly, if you are from a perfect place, just go back to where perfection is kind of my thought. And I think there's obviously plenty of legislation that needs to change in the United States. I'm not saying it's perfect here, but I'm saying that if your argument hinges on this is a terrible place to live overall, then that's great. Go live somewhere else in the world. It's a big place to live. And also, Oliver makes a great point as well in the fact that if we could just unify, you know, this is why I myself identify as a centrist, more of a libertarian, because if we could just take both sides of this dumb metaphorical aisle and meet in the middle on so many more things, we would get so much done.
Well, it goes back to what you said about mass manipulation, and also, like, we've all sort of lost our identity. That's why politics has become so prevalent in, like, the way people represent themselves to other people. And, like, you know, that's like, as our culture and our tradition and, like, sort of the knowledge of where our families and all of that stuff comes from, like, we're just little boats out in a big ocean, and we're looking for some kind of identity to reach out and grab. And politics, they make politics so easy to reach out and grab and make, just like in the same way that people just absorb themselves into sports.
Exactly.
You know, they're way out of shape, but they refer to their sports team as we. Like, our defense did really
Jamie
good.
does that all the time. We won. Talks about a college.
Where I'm from.
Some college where he's from.
Well, that's maybe.
Get out of here.
Maybe if he's from there, though, then it doesn't count.
Oh, I'm just fucking around.
Yeah.
I'm not a team sports guy. You know, I'm a combat sports guy, and I would never say we won. Like, if Kamaru Usman beats somebody, I never say we won. You know, Kamaru would call me up. What the fuck are you saying, man? You know what I did in camp? You know how many rounds I sparred? You know.
Yeah, all the punches he took.
It's so crazy, but if there's a group of guys, you can say we.
And it's funny because it is the mentality, as they're comparing, of the American people. Again, it is like sports teams. Politics has become, well, it's this side or it's this side. I strictly believe it is policy over party. If you're stuck in one party, doesn't matter left or right. Again, I hate that term. But if you're stuck in one party or one camp for everything, then what are you doing? It's silly, right? You are, as they are basically saying, you're piggybacking off of the success of others instead of trying to affect any change.
But that's
so silly.
I see that, like, I just see that becoming more and more prevalent, where there's not, like, I don't know, it's sort of just like, it's kind of even to expand on the thought of it, it's even like the way that now we're all in these subcategories the way we would be if we were in prison. We're all like, you know, like in the same way that when we use the word black and white to describe, like, how many different types of white and black are there that all just get merged? It creates this maybe like group identity that's a lot easier to control. Like,
for sure. Well, and then it shifts over time. Like, my family wasn't white. My family was Italian. They were disparaged when they first came to America from Europe. My grandfather used to tell me terrible stories of what happened to him when he was a boy living in America as an Italian. They treated them the same way terribly racist people were treating people from Guatemala that sneak in here. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then after a while, they sort of integrated, and now I'm white.
Yeah, now you're just a white person.
Now I'm just a regular white.
But it's easy now in big public narrative and stuff it's a lot easier to accuse you and 30 other different nationalities of people who are all very culturally different and unique and just call all of you white people and then pick the worst thing that one of those nationalities did and just cast it among the whole group. But it happens with every ethnicity, every identity. The goal is to like put everyone in the world in one of 3 or 4 buckets and then hopefully figure out how to just put all of them into one bucket eventually. It's like it's so much easier to control 2 or 3 different types of people than it is 30 or 40 or 100 or 1,000, you know?
Which is also, I think, why they never fix the problems that ail our inner cities. They want to keep that conflict. I really believe that. Because if somebody wanted to have a better, stronger economy, the first thing you would do is you want more people in the workforce. So you'd want less people that are disenfranchised, completely out of society, felons, all that stuff. That doesn't do anything but cost the country money, right? Unless you have private prisons. Now, in private prisons, those people become a business. And
they're discussing basically the commoditization of prison, which I completely agree with. Things like that. The Italian point is a little bit silly. Like, Italians were always white. There was racism towards just different countries. It wasn't necessarily about your skin color at that point. But they kind of talk about these sort of things and move towards...
A lot of these things, especially with universities, are the most racist, especially towards Asians. They're racist as fuck towards Asians. There's lawsuits about it. Harvard, is that still going on, the Harvard lawsuit? Where they specifically made their application process, like the whole acceptance process, more difficult for Asians because they were kicking too much ass. They had too many like Asian people that were willing to fucking work their ass off, study 12 hours a day, get straight A's. They're like, man, there's too many of these folks. We got to make it tougher.
What did they do to make it more difficult specifically?
They attached a bunch of things. I believe the argument is they attached a bunch of things like social stuff. Like, how much do you engage in, activism?
Well, it's not even just that. Joe's kind of missing the point. This is the affirmative action DEI stuff that we've talked about that I have an issue with, because what it does is it also says, well, there can only be this many of one race, this many of another race. There have to be this many of this race, when that just doesn't proportionally make sense, right? And hear me out on this. If we are saying that a certain portion of the amount of Americans are of one race, right, then it would generally make sense that they are proportionally represented, right? So with Asian people being a certain percentage, let's say 10, I believe it's around there, say they're 10%, it would make sense if 10% of all universities were Asian, or 13% for black people, 13% were black applicants. So because there just are more white people in the country, it would just make sense there are, but now they are actually trying to divide these numbers and change things, so there's going to be an equal amount of people all over, because the Asian people were so overachieving. They are the richest, they are richer than even white people in America at this point, statistically. Like, I believe Indians are the richest at this point, just because they're coming over here being doctors and working their butt off, like Joe said, and that's just something that I think is... It's clearly unfair, right? We're now having to say, oh, well, we can only accept, well, now it has to be 20% white people and 20% this race, 20 that. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, right? So then you're going to be pulling from lesser applicants to then hit those quota numbers, and it cheapens what a college scholarship or college degree even is.
Often are you involved in, social activities on campus? And
then the guys just kind of move on towards...
Like in a lot of the smaller Appalachian towns, like where we recorded was really close to Bramwell, West Virginia. But if you look at even if you look at Bramwell, West Virginia, and their recent political history, like the last mayor they had, she embezzled money from the town, and
Whoopsies.
There was and this isn't a very small town, so government corruption exists
everywhere.
On even the smallest level, and I believe that's what's happening hugely here in the LA situation. Obviously, they discussed the raids a little bit further, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here for you. And I just need to know, what do you think about this kind of stuff? Because I think all of these are intermittently woven together, and they actually do all matter in one. And I think the corruption issue is huge. There's clearly tons of corruption, even from the smallest level of government, even for the fact that prisons are now a commodity. They make money, they are privatized. It is unbelievable to me, but I really want to know what you think about this as well. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.